to this week's Let's Talk Aging. My name is Molly Wisniewski of the Upside to Aging, and today I'm speaking with members of the It's Never Too Late team, Laura Mock, the Customer Success Manager, and President and Co-founder Jack York. So thank you both so much for speaking with us today. It's great to have you. Yeah. So I think we're going to have a great conversation. My background is in activities, and it's hard not to know about It's Never Too Late when you're working in activities. However, I think that your program and platform is really beneficial, and I can't wait to share it with everyone. So with that, could you tell me a bit more about yourselves and how you got into the aging field?
Why don't you go first, Laura?
Okay. My name's Laura Mock, and I am a customer success manager with It's Never Too Late. But prior to joining the team, I was actually a customer. I am a therapeutic rec specialist by background. Had been in the field about 18 years. I started when I was 12. But I actually got into the field because of my grandparents. They were very near and dear to my heart, and I recognized the senior population needed more assistance in there, and so that's how I found this path in long-term care, and then joined IN2L because I saw the difference it could make in the way caregivers were working with residents, and such a huge impact.
Yeah. And Jack?
All right. Well, I was, my name's Jack York, and thanks, Molly, for having Laura and I on. My journey was, somewhat whimsical, I guess, never thinking of it as a business. A friend of mine had the idea to donate some computers to a local assisted living community to where she lived. Her name's Leslie Sweeney. And I was living the good life in the Silicon Valley. I was the VP of sales for a semiconductor company. And I had money and no time, and she had time and no money. And so we just donated some computers, and again, never thinking of it as a business. It was just a really cool experience. And then some personal things happened in my life. My mom died, different things happened. I started seeing or noticing that a lot of men in the world that I was in before that are my age now were somewhat, we're for the most part rich and miserable. And so it looked like maybe that wasn't really something to aspire to. So my brother and Leslie and I jumped off a cliff in 1998 and started It's Never Too Late. But a lot of people do have much more personal. I had the coolest experience with my grandparents and with my parents, how they died and things like that. So I don't have the heartwarming dementia experience a lot of folks do that are part of the company or that work in the industry, but I certainly have from day one been in love with seeing how you can make people's lives better that are older and wiser and smarter than most of us running on the planet.
I hear you there. That's amazing. Wow. Well, both of you have such diverse ways of getting into the field. I love that. I think that's really important. So as I mentioned, I am aware of IN2L. However, could you tell us a bit more about the platform, what it is, and your mission?
Yeah, why don't, just since you have both of us here, I'll talk a little bit about the mission, and then Laura can do a great job of kind of explaining the outcome of the product. I think that the observation that we made when we started the company, and again, without having any experience in aging or adaptive technology or engagement technology, we kind of jumped off a cliff without knowing anything of what we're doing, which in retrospect, I think was more of a benefit than a burden. But it was just an observation that the residents living in senior living communities that were, these people are teachers and lawyers and welders and whatever the heck they may be, they were treated so, I don't know, it was just so demeaning when you go look at the activity programming that exists in most senior living communities. And to this day, there's still a lot of that's out there. So it certainly looked like technology had a place to play. We didn't know what we were exactly doing, but again, because we didn't, we we had an idea, we had technology, we had an interface, we started playing around with different content, but we just listened to our customers. And again, this is 1999 when we started, so it's almost 19 years now. But I think what we have learned over the last 19 years is really, it's the staff that makes or breaks what we do. The whole product is all about how do you make a resident's life better. But if you don't, but you have to look at the reality of senior living and activity program and in therapy programs. So it's the Laura Mocks of the world that take this product and this platform and make it come to life. And we're honored and delighted that she's now a part of the company. But Laura, why don't you talk a little bit about kind of what the product itself does?
Sure. So we have a suite of products actually, which is neat. We have what we call our engagement systems, and those are more geared towards group activities, but they can be used for individual one-to-one interactions. And then we also have our new Focus tablets that are really going like hotcakes and wonderful way for intervention for one-to-one and family connections and that sort of thing. But what we have basically is a way to connect with residents using technology. And we have over 4,000 different pieces of content that can be applicable for the staff working with residents, whether it's games and puzzles, it's travel, music. There's all kinds of ways to connect with the elderly population. And our technology is like the vehicle, like Jack was saying. It's with the staff being able to connect to the residents, the family members being able to connect in a new way, or a way they haven't in such a long time, as some of the residents are going down the path with dementia. But it's also great for folks who don't have dementia. So it's just, I was amazed as a customer, just seeing what a great tool our products are. I have to go back and forth. Our products are, or IN2L's products before I joined the team. They're just fantastic in helping everybody who's helping take care of seniors. I mean, one of my favorite stories, we had a housekeeper, and one of the gentlemen we cared for, he didn't like the housekeeper to come in. So our poor housekeeper on the second floor, her name was T, and she would have to drop everything whenever, we'll call him John, was leaving his room. We'd tell her, oh, John went to go get his haircut. He's out of his room. You can go in. Because John, whenever she'd come in and he was there, was accusing her of taking things or whatever the case may be, or breaking things. Don't touch my stuff. So poor T's life was just waiting for John to move out of the room and have her come in and take care. And T knew that John was a classic pianist. And so one day she brought the IN2L system in there to him and put the classical piano music on for him. And through that, by the end of 2 weeks, they were thick as thieves. And John wanted to introduce him to his family, and it's just amazing. And that's just a tiny one story of what an impact IN2L can be for everybody caring for seniors.
That's incredible. And as you were both talking, it kind of dawned on me, because a lot of times in the field we always talk about how do we increase or benefit the seniors themselves, and the staff kind of gets left out of that conversation. We're just kind of expected to catch up to whatever is working best for the residents or the seniors themselves. But it really sounds like your IN2L is unique in that it is a tool for staff that is benefiting the seniors themselves. I'm actually getting kind of chills thinking about that, because that is so important. A lot of times, as you mentioned, staff are kind of put in this position where they don't know what to do. They kind of freeze because they want the best for them. They don't know how. So I just love this idea that you are providing staff members with empowering them, actually. And
as the years have gone by, we've really become a content company as much as anything else. And just so to try to, for people who aren't familiar with the product, essentially it's a big touch screen. Either you can develop either on a tablet, like Laura said, or a 23-inch screen, or a 60-inch television, or a 70-inch television, and you just walk up and you touch icons that are very just very thought through, whether it's a spiritual icon or a history icon or a games icon or whatever it may be. And when you touch those icons, it just lends itself to content that's been vetted to be very relevant for older adults. And our tagline is dignity through technology, and we take that very seriously, because you can make things easy to do without making them demeaning. And if a person is dealing with some kind of cognitive issues or whatever, it doesn't mean they don't want to still screw around and have fun and play. You just got to address the fact that they're in a little bit of a different reality. And you know what? We're all in a little bit of a different reality.
That's so true.
Laura, by the way, Laura, can you throw a dart before everyone that's watching this? Can we end the cast with you throwing a dart, just so we see how you do it?
Sure.
Okay, good.
I'll insert a dart for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So as I was perusing your site a bit, a lot of the staff testimonials talk about the training that they received for the product itself. So are all communities trained before IN2L gets in, or do you just kind of order it and it shows up? What's that process like?
Yeah, we ship it to you, and we just hope you figure it out. And we
Good luck.
We point an arrow to the on button, and Laura, why don't you take that one, Laura?
We offer training to all the communities who purchase our products, and we ask the communities to invite all of their staff members to join us for that training. We also ask if they have any volunteers. Sometimes I've been in trainings where we've had family members attend too. So we offer a full training scheduled around how to build activity calendars, how it's going to be helpful for all staff members, not just the recreation department. We encourage sharing, of course, and just how you work it from A to Z, and what's behind the content, and things that are going to help with redirecting folks that are getting agitated or anxious, that sort of thing. So we definitely provide the training. And then part of my role as customer success manager is to be there throughout the IN2L journey. So I'm there when you need me. We can offer webinars, on-site visits, that sort of thing. So we're there with you once you've ordered whatever product or suite of products you need. We're there for you. And we also have a whole tech support who's there 7 days a week. So there's everybody at IN2L is there for our customers. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm the most proud of from a company standpoint is we have like over a 97% retention of our customers, and people are paying a subscription every month or annually, and they're not contractually bound to that they can get out of that anytime that they want. And part of the reason that we have that success is the work that Laura and her teammates put into play, that they're not trying to sell you more systems. All they're trying to do is make sure that you have the best It's Never Too Late experience. And there is the ugly reality of senior living is such incredibly high turnover. And so you really need to be doing a lot of things to make sure that you're keeping people abreast of the systems, of the content. And just, there's also one of the coolest things in the company is that a lot of the best practices that we encourage and share, they're just coming from the customers. They're ideas, that they're ways that they creatively use the product, oftentimes in ways that we never would have envisioned it. And it's a great, the activity profession, and also the therapy. I think we didn't talk a little about therapy. There's a whole therapy side of the company as well, the speech, physical, and occupational therapists, that it's the same issue in therapy as it is in activities, is that, I can't wait to grow a little bit older so I can move cones around for my range of motion, or get that same range of motion by putting together a touchscreen puzzle of your granddaughter on a 70-inch television. You get the much, much better outcomes, and people that don't want to participate in therapy jump in. So it just long-winded answer, but I think the company we're all about long-term relationships. We probably have over 200 customers that are over 15-year customers. And so we know how to deal with hardware upgrades. We know that what you're delivering now is going to be a lot different in 5 years from now. And we'll figure out a way don't know exactly what it's going to be, but we'll figure out a way to make it work with what you've already purchased.
Yeah, that's amazing. That there's a lot there, and it really, I think, speaks to the community that you've built. I mean, yes, you mentioned it's a product, it's a subscription for staff, but you really are enhancing the communities of these places. And as I said earlier, it really sounds like you're working to empower the staff that is there. And you kind of spoke to this a bit, Jack, but I'm curious because in the field, we're really facing, there's a lot of different ways to say it, but the growing number of seniors that are, moving into senior living facilities, but then also the lack of caregiver support. And you kind of spoke to the turnover there. And could you, what do you think IN2L, what role IN2L plays in addressing this? Because it's such a huge issue.
Yeah, I think a few things. One is I think that, if you're running a senior living community, it's a huge issue of how do you retain staff, how do you get staff? And I think that you look at a couple things. The first is looking at a younger workforce. If you haven't embraced technology and you're trying to attract younger workers in their early 20s or whatever, then forget it. That's a generation that's grown up on, whether it's good or bad, they've grown up with technology 24/7 part of their life. And so to have this tool be something to very much, we see a lot of communities very much promote, hey, come to work for us. And look at this cool technology we have and how you'll be able to integrate it. And there's things that we're doing development wise. We'll be releasing before the end of the year a family app so that on a person's cell phone, on their smartphone, they can just send a clip of their grandson playing soccer, and it just shows up right behind grandma's picture. So all these things and I think if you do things to make the staff feel like they're making the residents' lives better, they feel better about the work that they do. It's a hell of a lot more efficient than having the one thing and Laura can speak to this more than I can, but if you take away that whole burden of trying to figure out what's my programming going to be this week, and okay, I'm going to put 3 hours into planning to go to Paris, and then you go to Paris and one of the residents says, I hate Paris. I never liked Paris and get me away from Paris. And so, you touch two buttons and you're in Germany, or you're, wherever the person wants to be. So I think that, I just think if you make a lot of this stuff has nothing to do with aging or senior living. It's just kind of common sense. If you make a person feel that they're getting more accomplished in their job and they're reaching more people, they're going to want to work there, and they'll stay there once they're there. So, and we don't pretend to imply that we're the whole reason, but I think what we do see is that people that invest in It's Never Too Late are usually the same organizations that are willing to invest in other creative ways to make the experience better. And at the end of the day, that's how you can market your community. But my parents both are gone for many, many years. But if I would have been in a position to choose a community for my mom or dad, to be honest, I could care less what your furniture looks like. I'd want to know, how are you keeping mom being able to say the rosary every day, and be able to stay connected to the grandkids, and keep dad connected to the Cornhuskers, and all the things that are relevant to us. It's got nothing to do with aging. We all want to be relevant. We want to be connected to things that are meaningful. And that really is what the company is all about. And if you make it easy for the staff to do that, they like it, and they stick around.
Yeah, and I just was going to throw in one more thing, is that I think with the staff, most staff that are working in the senior population are there because their hearts are in it, and it makes them feel good to be successful in helping a resident, whether redirecting them, having them tap into those memories that they haven't reached into, making them laugh and smile and enjoy themselves. And so I think being a tool for all staff to help accomplish those things is really where we really connect with IN2L and the staff members. And if they're feeling successful and they're feeling they're making a difference in helping the residents, they're going to stay, and it just dovetails, because of course your residents like to have consistency, and if they know the staff that are taking care of them, you get better results, and it's just a win-win. And then you've got family, of course, bring them into this, that they know who the certified nursing assistants are that are taking care of mom or dad, because they've been there, they're staying there, because they are getting those successful feedback, those smiles from the residents, and that IN2L gives them the tool to help them, especially when you have a resident that might be confused and they're getting agitated, and here, bring in the IN2L, and this is a way that will engage them, and the resident is no longer agitated, the staff has been successful. So it's just a win-win-win-win. I think that's how many wins there are, but connecting people and fostering that community between the family members, the residents, and the staff is so important.
Yes, and I'm so glad that you brought up the family members, because there's sometimes a disconnect there, especially in activities where, in senior living, we have care plan meetings, and that's sometimes the only time we're really interacting with the family members, unless they are able to visit more often. And it sounds like IN2L really allows family members to play a larger role in at least the activity pursuits of their loved one.
Well, part of it too, there's like a sophisticated part of it, like the care plan and this or that, but just from a gut reality standpoint, I remember I wrote a blog about this, but I think I was about 10 years old when my grandmother died, and she was it was called the convalescent hospital. And oh my God, it was just the dreaded 2 or 3 times a week to go in there. And, I love my grandma, not to be dismissive about that, but I hated it. How the place smelled and how it looked, and she had she looked horrible, and, not to be dismissive about the reality of some of that stuff, but, you have a 70-inch touchscreen television that's got all kinds of games and stuff to play. Grandkids will come in and they'll just like, this isn't so bad. And then all of a sudden they're interacting with, with grandpa on putting a puzzle together, or looking at a commercial in the 50s or whatever it may be. But I like, you were kind of going down a sophisticated path, and Laura, why don't you speak to the more sophisticated path? But I just, there's nothing that I get more joy out of than seeing like an 8-year-old kid who's just playing with our system with grandma. And, that's their kid's life, is all these video games and stuff. So why not make it something that they can do with grandma and grandpa? So Laura, can you get more sophisticated, please?
I'll try what I can do. But yes, with family members coming in, and I had time and time again, especially family members who are watching their loved ones struggle sometimes. And if they were the primary caregiver and they made the difficult decision to move mom or dad in, I used It's Never Too Late with doing family nights and training and just providing some training for our family members so they could see what content was behind there. And one of the neat things, fantastic things about IN2L is that you can individualize, customize the experience. So the things that grandma really likes, or mom or dad, you can put them right behind their My Page or their profile on the tablets, and it's an easy way to get to the things that they enjoy. And so in care plans, like you were talking, we'd have family members come in, and I'd learn more about that resident than I had already interviewing the resident for the initial admissions survey. And she used to sing in a choir, and I'd like, oh, great, IN2L has content behind spiritual content that we can add there right away. So it just, really IN2L can help in care plans and in your meetings, and it can help everybody.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I guess Laura, you mentioned earlier a new platform focus, and is that, you said that's for individuals?
Yeah. Well, again, let me talk a little generically, and then Laura talk specifically. That I think generically is that we really have built the company on the back of a group engagement experience that can totally transform your activity and therapy programming. It also has the ability to individualize, but how, just to be honest, how individual does it feel to have your content in a group area? And so our customers for many years have been clamoring for, how can you take this very robust experience and bring it to the person? And we had to do some development just to we didn't want to, it didn't make sense financially to try to deliver it on on a tablet that costs $2,000. People have an expectation of a tablet price being at a different point. So we spent the last couple of years developing this product we call Focus, that very much is geared towards an individual or a group of individuals. It's something that the caregiver can carry with them and have the individual experiences. So Laura, why don't you talk a little bit about kind of what you see as the specific use cases for it?
So our Focus tablet, it could be if you're using it in assisted living, or where the residents are able to utilize it themselves. So a one-to-one experience where the resident it's driven by the resident, or for, as Jack was talking about, for a tool for the caregivers to bring into the resident's room and use with the resident to help with engaging them, redirecting. Because as we all know, some people love to go to group activities and that sort of thing, but there are plenty of people who, one, don't want to be in a group 24/7, two, enjoy having that one-to-one time, and that's where our Focus tablets really key in too. And then with the connection with families. So people are using our Focus tablets, either the family members are using them, with the resident, or the care staff, like Jack was saying, they have one and they bring it into the residents for redirecting, or that sort of thing, or engaging. And we're seeing it being used in all kinds of ways, and not just activities. Of course, I'm leaving out activities, but that kind of goes without saying. But it's our suite of products. Now we've got something for everyone, basically, whether it's the individual use or the group use.
Yeah, that's really important. As an activity professional myself, I found that a lot of times, and Laura, you use this word too, interventions really do come down to a one-on-one level, an individual level, and what works for one person isn't going to work for the rest. So it's great to hear. I think that would be such a beneficial tool, and I would have used it all the time on our for our residents, because the idea that you can pull up images of just their family is intriguing to me, and I think really a great way to think on your feet too, when you have that focus with you, to say, oh wait, I know what we have for them, rather than having to go back to the activities room and kind of search through the cupboards and pull out a whole bunch of things, right? Because sometimes it's trial and error, and you're walking down the hall with all of these interventions and handing it to the person, hoping that it works. So,
well, and also, Laura was talking a little bit about this, but I think that when there's such a on the nursing home side, such a regulatory push, but I think just overall societal, there's a push towards how do you reduce the use of psychotropic drugs. Yeah. If it's 2 a.m. and somebody's agitated, and I always just think back to my parents, and if my mom every day was the rosary. So, I mean, at 2 a.m, somebody's agitated, to be able to bring a device into her room, then touch one icon, and there's the picture of a priest that she recognizes saying the rosary before you go down a drug path. So I just think that a lot of this stuff it's common sense, but it's not common sense, just because I think the industry of senior living has looked at technology much more in an operational, a medical record and a HIPAA compliant software and all that kind of stuff context, more than an engagement context. And we see, I think we're at the forefront of seeing that dramatically changing, but there really is multiple benefits towards bringing individual content to people 24/7. And I think whether it's regulatory, whether it's census, or whether it's just the right thing to do, all those things are kind of converging, I think, in the world right now.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm a huge advocate for the activities department in general. And Jack, you said in the beginning, sometimes they're not as robust as you'd like to see, you know, bingo and parties, and that's about it. But I'm a firm believer that the activities department as a whole has a huge opportunity in the field to provide non-medical interventions, as you were saying, that have really gone untapped up until.
Well, it's unbelievable how, I mean, the heart of gold that most activity professionals have, and the budgets that they're given to work with are just it is.
Say that again.
It's painful. So, but I think what's changing it is the market reality. Like I said, is that people my age, I'm in my late 50s, that are making decisions for their parents, they're starting to demand a better way to take care of mom and dad. And I think there's a lot of stuff is becoming a given now. I think good nursing care is a given. A lot of dining is a given. So I think engagement is becoming a way to differentiate what you're offering from the community around the corner. So I really think that's helping elevate the status of the whole activity profession. And we've built our whole company on the back of activity professionals. So we are very cognizant of just what a difficult role that they have.
Yeah. Oh, well, I like that. And you can keep talking about that all day. No, but honestly, I thank you so much. I think this is wonderful. And you're really tapping into a need that's there and offering support that has really gone unnoticed, the need for that type of support. So I can't wait to share with everyone. But just lastly, because the Upside to Aging really does focus on empowering caregivers to interact through activities, and while yes, you have IN2L, and I know that that's the mission, do you, in your experience, have you found that you have any piece of advice for caregivers looking to get to know their loved one in this new phase of their life?
Yeah, again, I'll give a piece and Laura chime in too. I just think that I wouldn't, this may sound overly dramatic, but I don't think an activity professional should work at a place that doesn't want to invest in some kind of engagement technology, because it's impossible to do these things without technology. And if the organization is not willing to invest in it, then I just don't think it's the right organization to work for, frankly. And I think the answer is not, we think we're great at what we do, and we love what we do, and we think we're the best provider of what we do. But I don't get bothered by somebody using other products or this or that. I get bothered by organizations that have a mission statement on their wall that talks about how their priority is the elders they serve, and then you walk by 20 folks living with dementia that are plopped in front of a television with Jerry Springer on. It's just, it's painful. So I just think that technology, all the myriad ways you can use technology, whether it's through music and memories, whether it's through ourselves, whether it's through different companies, virtual reality, all the stuff that's coming, just do something and work for an organization that will embrace it. And there's enough people out there that get it, and we'll lead the uprising. Laura Mock will lead the uprising I guess for the people that don't do it.
I'll
So
have to get a pitchfork.
I don't mean to sound like a preacher, but I feel like I'm on CNN with the little pictures here on the screen. So I had to pontificate about something. So Laura, you can take it from here.
All right, I'll bring us back home. No. But just to the caregivers out there that are there day in and day out, we know there's a big burnout, but if you just stay the course and be the advocate for the residents, I think if you can get in front of your administrators, your ED, the CEOs, and just talk to them about what Jack was saying, technology that's out there that can so help them in their jobs, help the residents in their lives, and connect family members. Because I mean, if you have to talk bottom line to your CEOs and your EDs, they're looking at bottom line. They want to keep their nursing home or their community full census, so to speak. So if that's their bottom line, then talk that language and say, listen, here's the technology that's out there, that's available, that's going to make our customers satisfied, our residents, their family members happy. And it, just like I was saying earlier on the win-win-win, but just that's what I would recommend to the caregivers out there, the folks that are boots on the ground, so to speak, that are day in, day out, that you guys are fantastic at what you do, and we really appreciate you for all you do.
Let me jump on that, because the one thing I would critique, this is more geared towards activity professionals. The one thing I would critique would say there can be kind of this woe is me, oh my God. And you can, with what Laura was saying, go talk to the marketing folks and say, you know what, if we talk our management into investing in this, I'll help you with census, because I'll be able to help build, we'll be able to build the stories of the residents that will make it a better, it'll make it a more marketable community. Go talk to the speech and physical occupational therapists and let them know that, hey, there's a better way to do what you're doing. Tap into different budgets and be aggressive in, you know what, there's a way to make this work, and get a group of people willing to invest in something, and then go to whoever the powers that be that will listen to that. Because there can be, and I get it, because people can be, you know, we're all beaten down enough, you kind of give up. But I think there can be kind of a woe is me mentality sometimes, that we've seen plenty of people, you know, like Laura, who was very much embraced what we were doing and just was all over it, and was very involved in the management of her organization and showing what they were doing. So, I mean, I think it's unite, power up, rise, unite, take on the proletariat. Yeah, but no, I mean, it works. It absolutely works. If you can tie into census, and this stuff does, it's a compelling story you can convey.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially with the amount of opportunity there is for the growing number of seniors out there. So
right.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear that. Thank you for that. That was great. I can't say much more. I love your work and your organization. It's been a pleasure speaking with both of you. Honestly, I think that just how personable you both are, it really speaks to the love and heart that you do have for IN2L as a whole and the field. So thank you for that. And what I'll be doing is I'll be sharing your links below so people can find IN2L through this. And then also, Jack, you mentioned the blog, and I do see that you have a blog on your website, so I'll also be attaching that, because I think that's a great resource for people to go in and kind of learn more about you all. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Win, 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 win.